YouTube, so I am extremely tired, but I just came across this video as I'm just scrolling through YouTube, and Hussien Farhat proves that he's an idiot. So if you don't know, Hussien actually said that he is going to take drug tests for the next 3 months. That's going to be paid for, I think it's Connor Shane that's going to be paying for it, or Cyan, I don't know how to say his name. So I'm curious to see what Anabolic Stick has to say here, because I mean these videos have been blowing up, man, like 106,000 views. I'm really curious to see what he's gonna say here. So let's see this.
Alright, so Mr. 1 in a Million Genetics responded to my video where I called him out for manipulating his audience by using a quote-unquote drug-tested competition that he competed in, where he and none of the contestants were drug-tested as proof of him being natural.
You make good points, but what about Hussien competing in a natural show and winning? Yeah, what about it, bro? You didn't mention the show. Like, we're just gonna forget about it? Nobody wants it? Like, we're just sweeping it under the rug? Like, what are we doing?
He went on to make a response video where he basically thought he had a gotcha moment, but he just ended up looking incredibly stupid and doesn't actually make a single point in the video. Let's get into it.
So yeah, today I'm going to be absolutely destroying every single person involved in this video, and I wish I didn't have to do it because like I said, it's not like me to do these types of videos, but when people are straight up lying and coming after my hard work and my natural transformation, which goes completely against why this channel even exists, I have no choice but to answer.
That's crazy.
So right off the bat, this guy starts yapping, thinking he's some kind of anime villain, talking about destroying everyone that was involved in my video. Well, let's take a little trip to your comments, Hussien. Let's see how well you destroyed the people involved with this video. You're such a cornball, bro. So he basically says that we lied in my video, and then for the duration of this video, literally proves that not a single lie was said. I'm not making this up, believe me, just keep watching.
So yeah, today's video, I'm going to be reacting and responding to Anabolic Stick's latest video, titled Hussien Lied About Natural Bodybuilding Show. Now here is something that is important to note. Before dropping this video, Anabolic Stick made a post on YouTube, and here's what he said. I just wanted to say that in the middle of making my Greg response video, I've been contacted by a very credible individual, alright? Very credible individual, keep that in mind, it's going to be important for the rest of the video, with some pretty damning information regarding Hussien Farhat. Not trolling lol video will be up tomorrow or the day after. Alright, so now that we've covered everything you guys need to know, let's start this video.
Okay, so I'm just gonna cut to the chase. The credible source I was talking about is Sharif Saad, a competitor that competed alongside Hussien in his quote-unquote natural bodybuilding show. Hussien and Greg were parading that bodybuilding show around as proof of his natty status, and then Sharif came out and revealed that no one was actually tested. This is pretty much all that Sharif says. His only claim is that no one got tested, which Hussien then goes on and admits in his video, yet he tries to portray Sharif as not being credible simply because he was friendly to Hussien before. Again, not making that up. Let's continue with the video.
So I made a video about Hussien Farhat being a fake natty, which absolutely took off in the algorithm, prompting both Hussien and Greg Doucette to respond. When they both responded, one of the main points they brought up was that Hussien Farhat competed in a natural bodybuilding show, so therefore he must be natty. A guy named Sharif Saad commented on my video regarding Hussien mentioning the natural bodybuilding show. I competed in the same show, same stage, and nobody got tested. A guy even told me afterwards he was on SARMs and competed in the show. Natural shows don't mean much.
Alright, by the way guys, this is the very credible individual that reached out to Anabolic Stick and told him that he had like inside information on me. This is the guy that has been training from what he said for 13 years naturally, alright? Keep that in mind, it's gonna be important for the rest of the video, but this is basically the guy saying that I've been basically lying about the natural show.
So he basically starts alluding to Sharif not being a credible source. He does his little anime villain smirk while he sees Sharif pop up.
I feel like the part about the show, if it's tested or not, really doesn't even matter, bro, because the way that they test, bro, it's like you pee in the cup. You could basically be taking anabolic steroids and still pass. Like, this is why a lot of people say like powerlifting testing is kind of stupid. You pee in a cup. I mean, actually, some bodybuilding federations, they take blood work, but I mean, like, this is probably a pee in the cup type of deal. I think the blood work is the more important part if you're asking me. You know what I mean?
On the screen, and he starts edging his audience towards some incredible gotcha moment that completely invalidates my video.
Alright, so basically here the guy is saying that he competed at the same show as me and that nobody got tested. And he also said that a guy after the show told him that he was on SARMs and he competed in the same show as me and Sharif. And then he says natural shows don't mean much. And then he proceeds to say that the King Kong Classic has 2 days of competing. The enhanced one is the first day and then the second day is the natural one. Natural, alright? And he said I did the natural with him and that we basically got charged for getting tested. You know, there was a $50 charge per class for the test, you know, the drug test, and that the whole show just put that in your pocket, right? This is what the guy said. So here's what actually happened. There's 2 shows exactly like he said. There's the enhanced show and there's the natural show. Obviously, I applied for the natural show because I saw that it was like advertised as being drug tested. You know, I picked it, I was expecting to get tested, I went to the show and I paid, like I said, $50 per category, and I did 8 categories in total, right? Which means I paid a total of $400 for the show just to get drug tested. So tell me this, let's say you see 2 shows, right? One of them you don't have a drug testing fee, the other one you do have a drug testing fee. If you decide to pick the show with the drug testing fee, you would obviously expect to get tested, right? So I went on stage, won 7 medals in total, but never got tested.
So he basically argues that while he didn't get tested, he thought that he would get tested, and so that proves his natty status. Well, consider this. Greg Doucette was his coach during this bodybuilding show. Greg was the one that told him to compete. Greg is a Canadian IFBB pro and was a judge on numerous bodybuilding shows. As I proved in my previous video, it is widely widely known that the CPA, which is the organization that runs this show, does not test their winners. If anyone would be aware of this beforehand, it would be Greg Doucette. So what are the chances that Greg told him to compete in this show because he knew Hussien wouldn't be at risk of drug testing? Now, even if what I just said didn't happen, it is widely known that the testing done at natural shows are complete.
I mean, that could be true, bro, but we're really getting out there in some conspiracy theories, I'm not gonna lie.
Garbage. I've heard from a lot of people that
this is kind of like what I was saying.
Usually don't even test for anabolic steroids and only test for recreational drugs.
And as a PNBA pro, a natural bodybuilder pro as myself, not anymore, but I was, I can verify with 100% accuracy that 90% of the shows are not tested, even though they say they are tested. Or if they are tested, like at my show, you're doing a urine test and it's not for anabolic steroids, it's for recreational drugs. So kind of doesn't matter.
So natural bodybuilding shows are already bullshit in general, but the point of my video was to show that you have no qualms with lying to your audience, be it indirectly and manipulating them by continuously using a quote-unquote drug-tested bodybuilding show as proof of natty status, heavily implying that you got tested when you never did. You conveniently completely avoided pointing out that you never got tested. You're just simply a dishonest guy. You've been continuously using this show as quote-unquote proof, knowing that you never got tested. And now you're trying to use a 5-second clip of a podcast you did months ago where you admitted you didn't get tested to imply that you've always been truthful. If you were truthful, you would have mentioned this in your video alongside the numerous times you referenced this quote-unquote natural drug-tested competition as proof of your natty status. But you didn't, because that would basically invalidate your entire argument. If your fellow competitors never came out to call you out on your lying by saying that no one got tested, then this clip would also have not resurfaced and you would still be saying to this day, why aren't you mentioning the drug-tested competition I did? That's proof of me being natural.
First off, I'm not natty, alright? He made a natty on before the show, said I'm not natural. Then he meets me in person, says that I'm a great guy, that he thinks I'm natural, and that he hopes to see me at the show next year. And now that the drama is getting clicks and that I'm all talked about, he makes a video on me again and says that I'm not natural.
Pretty much straight lines in people's face. Hussien, he looks amazing and he's got the shape of proportion. Straight yes, Hussien, yeah, I'm following him out. And he's a great guy, we spoke him in backstage.
This is the guy you choose as a very credible source?
Well, yes, he did in fact appear to be a very credible source because everything he said was true. He claimed you didn't get tested, and then in the same video and in the podcast clip, you also admit that you didn't get tested.
So I went on stage, won 7 medals in total, but never got tested.
So how does any of this prove that he's not credible when you've literally proven that he in fact is credible by confirming everything he said?
So I went on stage, won 7 medals in total, but never got tested.
This whole pitiful attempt at character assassination would have worked if you hadn't yourself admitted that you didn't get tested.
So I went on stage, won 7 medals in total, but never got tested.
But you prove his credibility by admitting that everything he said was true, but then somehow tried to paint him as—
Alright, so I do gotta say, if you sign up for a tested show and you don't get tested, that's not your fault. You know what I'm saying? I would reach out to whoever did it and say, why didn't you test them? That would be my question. That's not your fault, though, if they didn't pick you for a randomized drug test.
not being credible.
This is the guy you choose as a very credible source.
Because he was nice and friendly to you and didn't want to be confrontational by calling you a fake natty to your face. This entire video is just so stupid. Leave these response videos to Greg. You're just continuously making yourself look dumb.
That's basically for Sharif. You're an absolute clout chaser. You try to be friends with me when we met up at the show. You DM me. You put comments on my page. I never reply to you because, again, I'm not fake. I always say the truth. You're trying to critique me, say that I'm a scammer and that I'm not natural. Then we meet up in person. You're trying to be all cool and shit with me. What are the chances he's the one that comes out and talks about the show?
Well, he wasn't really the only one. Two other competitors, the latter of which was a top 5 contestant, also came out to say that you didn't get tested.
So like I said, I have all the receipts, all the screenshots. You can go on my post. If you go on the post that I posted, LA Dump, and it's a picture with Togi and Shizzy, you can find his comment on that post. Unless, obviously, he's probably gonna go and delete it now. But yeah, you can go and see it. I have a screenshot. I just took it. So yeah, bro, basically
So I gotta say, alright, let me explain the way that this works. Like, I feel like we're kind of missing the point. Like, this guy does make good points, good videos as well, but here's kind of like the point that I want to put out there. They don't test everybody at natural powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever shows. Even though it's tested, doesn't mean that they test everyone. Now, picture collegiate nationals at the USAPL this year had over 1,300 lifters. Do you expect them to blood test every single one of them? You know what I'm saying? Even the urine test isn't even that accurate. They just do it so they can make sure you're not on like crazy anabolic steroids.
Changed his mind 3 times in total, and that's his very credible source. Come on, bro. Come on, do better.
Do better? You've literally proved his credibility by saying yourself that you didn't get tested, which is literally the only claim that Sharif made.
So I went on stage, won 7
So
medals.
like, yeah, even if nobody gets tested, like that's not his fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, picture if they did test everyone. Like, wouldn't that just be? You know what I'm saying? It's more of like an honesty thing that you're signing up for. And if there was clearly somebody that was much bigger than the rest, which, okay, sure, he won, but I mean, I don't think he looked like that next level. If there was somebody clearly bigger than the rest, they most likely would have tested them. And that's the way that, you know, tested lifting works. It's never going to be 100% clean. It's the way football works. You think everybody in the NFL is natural? Probably not. You think everybody in the show is natural? Probably not. But they're doing randomized testing.
Total, but never got tested.
Hussien, you're not really the sharpest tool in the shed, are you? Isn't there a correlation between steroid use and the killing of brain cells? His stupidity in this video might honestly just be the thing that proves definitively that he's a fake natty. The guy seems to only be in possession of 2 brain cells that are fighting for dominance to try and form a coherent thought. So that's basically what the entire video is. Hussien throws a hissy fit because someone came out and called him out on a lie. The entire video is just Hussien trying to commit character assassination on Sharif, all cause he left a couple of nice comments on his Instagram after the competition, but then called Hussien out on his lie when he saw Hussien implying that he got drug tested at the competition they both competed in. He didn't slander Hussien, he didn't insult Hussien, all he did was call Hussien out on his lie. Since Hussien dropped this video, I've heard that Sharif has been getting a bunch of nasty hate messages on Instagram and even through email from Hussein's fans, so to anyone watching, I'd really appreciate it if you could go to his Instagram or to his YouTube comments and just show the guy some love and support, because all he did was correct a lie and he truly does not deserve the hate.
But now, this is where it gets interesting. So after watching the video, I went to the comment section and I found this comment. We have Connor Sinan who said, if you want, I'll pay for any drug test for you since you can't afford to drug test Hussein. I'll have you overload the whole thing. I drug tested myself, but since I'm friends with Greg, it may look fishy, so let's get you involved and make some content. Now that we've absolutely removed this whole reason that you made in the first place, which was I don't have the money to pay for the test, Connor just said he's willing to pay for the test and fly you out here to Montreal where I live to do the test. So here's my offer to you again. I'm down to get tested whenever you want. You can come here tomorrow if you want to, bro. And I will get tested with you and Connor. And if I fail that blood test, I will give you $100,000. But if I pass the blood test, I want you to make an apology video and basically apologize for everything that you said and finally admit that I'm not a fake natty.
Well, Hussien, as I said in the video I uploaded yesterday, I've already been talking with Connor for days, and just yesterday gave him all the stipulations that would have to be respected if I were to agree with this. Accept these terms and I will fly out to Montreal, and after 6 months, accept the $100,000 that you owe me. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure...
Dang, I might have to go watch that video too. I'm curious to see these comments though, to be honest. This is huge for the unemployed. Good point, good point. All fair points, but if you consider the fact he may be 1 in 2 million. Oh. He's obviously natty because he's 1 in a million. Let's see. This channel is 1 in a million, bro. Alright, so here, like I've said before, in my personal opinion, I think that the 60 pounds of muscle is just cap. I think that he went from like 150 to 170. That's just my personal opinion. Greg's only argument is that he's 1 in a million. I think that what they should do is just come out and say that this is like a lie. That's my personal opinion. I don't know if it is or not. But, alright guys, that's gonna be it for today's video. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. Like, signing out. Peace.